heightened states of emergency across the nation.
The deadly coronavirus.
COVID contamination.
The coronavirus.
The spread of the coronavirus.
The COVID-19 pandemic.
There is no need to change anything that you're doing on a day-by-day basis. Right now, the risk is still low, but this could change. I've said that many times. You've got to watch out because although the risk is low now, you don't need to change anything you're doing. When you start to see community spread, this could change and force you to become much more attentive to doing things that would protect you from spread.
Coronavirus cases soars above 3,000.
More than 104,000 confirmed cases in the U.S. 1,700 deaths.
The death toll here in the U.S. has now risen to more than 51,000, with the number of cases hovering above 900,000. Last week at this time, there were 700,000 cases. Dr. Fauci, quickly, how does this all end?
You know, it ends it depends on the nature of the outbreak. I mean, this could be a major outbreak, I hope not, or it could be something that's reasonably well controlled. At the end of the day, this will ultimately go down. Hopefully, we can protect the American public from any serious degree of morbidity and mortality. That's the reason why we've got to do the things that we have in our plan.
This is a crisis that will be with us, first of all, I believe at least 6 months. There is a real possibility that by closing our schools now, we may not have the opportunity to reopen them in this full school year.
The world has seemed to come to an odd halt as the coronavirus, originating from Wuhan, China, has swept its way across the globe. I had heard about the viral disease, but was not prepared for the shockwave it would bring as life around the country, even Little Sioux City, Iowa, would ultimately change. To think with social distancing and the shutdown of schools and non-essential businesses, my life would have taken a drastic turn, but it honestly really hasn't. I have a hell of a lot more free time, but I would say that my day-to-day in here, Sioux, has not been affected in the same way like some of my family and friends. I guess the big thing is being stuck home all damn day. I've sort of fallen in this repetitive daily cycle this past month, and with online classes and work the only real thing I have to worry about, I've fallen into a rhythm at home, and I've been able to cook a lot more since I've been quarantined. When I'm not eating Chipotle, I've been trying to find cheap and healthy ways to make meals. Scrambled eggs and omelets have become an easy, on-the-fly way to make breakfast, brunch, lunch, dinner, whatever you want to call it. I guess it's when I eat during the day now. My college budget can afford cheap vegetables and eggs. Not a whole lot to it, but with a little love, you can get a bomb meal.
Slap your mama Cajun seasoning. If you don't have it in your cabinet, you need it.
I've come to appreciate a lot more of the little things that are often overlooked, like cooking this cheap little meal. To think that something like COVID-19 could shock our system so bad, it definitely puts our reality into perspective. We are a privileged generation, and anything that we need, any piece of information, is literally at the touch of our fingertips. We were born into an abundance of opportunity, but along with that has come a level of complacency. And I think that Corona has definitely exposed that in us. Those eggs were bomb, though. So what's been up with the repeating cycle of my daily life? A lot of it's waking up later than I should, usually from staying up way too late the night before. I try to knock out some homework while I chill in my room. I end up spending a lot of time in here just because I don't have any other place to go, and the living room's the only other place to chill. So, my room is my home. It's a blessing, but also a curse. Alright, where were we? Oh yeah, homework. Well, I mean, this is my daily life of constantly procrastinating. I think one of the most difficult things about this whole COVID-19 is the shutdown of all gyms and social places. The lack of access to any gym has been really, really sad. I've created a habit of going, and now being stuck at home with just body weight exercises and my single dumbbell is just, it hasn't been the best. Calisthenics are fun and all, but the lack of any solid equipment or space definitely makes this more difficult. The pandemic has really made me miss Planet Fitness and the Hyper Center. It's just another thing that I've taken for granted, and another thing that I thought I wouldn't be affected by. But I guess you only start noticing these things when they're gone. But a lot of people have lost more than just their gym time. The U.S. economy lost a staggering 701,000 jobs in March, 7 times the amount of jobs that was originally predicted. And by the end of March, 10 million Americans would file for unemployment. Industries including leisure and hospitality, education and health, retail and professional services took the largest hit. Food services have taken a major blow, with restaurants being restricted from seating guests. Now my sister has begun her freshman year at Weber State in Ogden, Utah, only to have her second semester drastically changed in a blink of an eye.
Before all the COVID-19 craziness happened, I was going to class every day. I had 2 classes a day. I was also in this thing called the Cat Club, because there's 3 cats that live on my campus, and so people in the club would volunteer to feed them. So on the days I would volunteer, I'd get up in the morning and go and feed these cats. After I was done with my classes for the day, usually in the evening I would go to work. I had a part-time job at this place called Corner Bakery. It's basically a Panera, and I washed dishes there. More people started moving out of the dorms, and that was kind of when I was like, I wonder how long, either we're gonna keep these open or if I should leave already, because they're trying to take extra precautions along with keeping us in our rooms. They were also changing how meals and stuff were given to us. So I was like, I don't really know if it's worth staying here, if it's all going to move online anyway. Then it was almost immediately that I kind of had that plan that I got furloughed, and so then my parents came and we moved me and my stuff back to Omaha. And so that was when I definitely felt the most change. It was my coworkers who I wasn't really able to hang out with or talk to, and those were the people that I definitely kind of felt the most kind of heard about. And then moving stuff online, being back at home, it also started to feel a bit differently, because just being away from everything and being able to talk to people who are going through the same thing as me at the same school, I kind of wasn't able to just have that kind of aspect to it. I'm going into archaeology and I'm doing a minor in German, and those are 2 things that you can't really do online. And granted, I'm still doing mostly lecture classes and stuff, but still just not being able to be in the classroom and ask questions and listen to other people's questions and input, it definitely affects my learning. And I can definitely say that I haven't learned as much now being online as I would have if we were still being able to be in the classroom. So those are basically the things that I've felt affected by since COVID-19. It's definitely kind of done a 180 on my life and kind of all my plans and stuff. I think it'll take at least a year for things to kind of start feeling normal again. So, yeah.
I guess one thing that you sort of forget about being here for so long is just how pretty the campus is. Being straight across the street from it, I'll come out here a couple times. I've got my board, and it's nice to get a run in or go walking around and not be stuck inside all day. It's really weird because there's nobody here right now, and now it's every day here. It's just it's empty, and the campus itself is really calming and really peaceful, but at the same time, when you think about what a college campus is supposed to be, it's pretty lonely.
I think one of the biggest things I've seen regarding Corona, the reaction to it, and the First Amendment here in the United States is the large inflow of false information and opinions that make the truth sometimes hard to find. When the virus was still culminating in China, the World Health Organization was giving out false information, saying COVID could not be transmitted through the air and China was doing a good job at containment, but even they wouldn't know what the near future would bring. Celebrities and public figures have all thrown in their 2 cents, with some calling the virus a hoax, something similar to the flu, and a problem that should go away really fast. Pretty much I've seen everyone pointing fingers at who was wrong, when really everybody's been. Well, I burnt out my tire, so it looks like I'm walking home tonight. In the meantime, we are going north to Alaska, where one of my best friends has had a first-hand experience with COVID-19.
Hi, my name is Wyatt McGann. I'm a good friend of Mason's from back when I used to go to school at Morningside for my freshman year. And I recently moved back up to Eagle River, Alaska, where I work now. And I had COVID-19. It lasted a good 3.5 weeks. Having it was really, really crappy, especially with how the community, responded to it. I was kind of forced to live like a leper for a while. And I understand why. It was a real pain in the butt to get over it. I've been sick before, but that was one of the worst. I had off and on fevers for the whole time, and I coughed so bad at one point that I ended up having to go to the emergency room for it. I'd say that COVID-19 affected Alaska really, really hard. We didn't have very many cases. In fact, I'm the only case in Eagle River, Alaska so far that's been reported. But we did have a very large community output towards trying to mitigate it. Nobody was on the roads for a really long time. Nobody was going to work, and a lot of people are having to work doubles. I've actually had to work 2 triples since I've been back from having COVID-19, which, by the way, I am back to work. I got cleared by the doctors. I don't have it anymore. So yeah, it's definitely been a crazy thing for us here in Alaska with the COVID-19. So.
The influx of work has been felt here as well. With most restaurants closed, my job at Chipotle has gotten far busier. And to think with our lobby closed that we would have less people, but we've had a ton of business through delivery and carryout. We're now required to wear masks on location, and we're not allowed to work if we've had any chance for exposure. I would say I'm one of the few lucky ones that was able to keep their job. A lot of people that I know have had to move home since college, many losing their first jobs or internships due to the closures. I still have rent to pay, and I don't know what I would do if I lost my steady source of income. My other perspective on working is that I don't really get the choice on what I get to do. I can choose to quit, but it's not like I can gain unemployment from quitting. And I don't want to be fired either. And I don't want to work while COVID is very, very rampant. But I guess that's how it is.
3 states starting the process of reopening non-essential businesses on Friday. Georgia, Oklahoma, and Alaska opening their doors to customers with new guidelines in place. And in the next week, nearly a dozen other states will start to ease their restrictions as they slowly start the reopening process.
Well, with what I believe to be a jump of the gun, parts of the country are now trying to reopen everything. And looking at Sioux City right now, our infection rate has been doubling the past few days since there were more initial cases in South Sioux. I don't think that we've seen the worst yet, and reopening everything will only make this worse. I see the future being very different as well. I see security, medicine, the way we associate ourselves socially and in public, it's all going to be affected. But for now, I will keep my daily routine and my responsibilities to be a decent citizen. I think the big takeaway is just to realize the gift of life and everything that it gives, because it can be taken so quickly, and everything that seems normal can be pulled right from underneath you. So as I go into summer, that's what I want to look into, and it's just appreciating the small things and loving the people around me and soaking up all the little details that are often overlooked.